Madam Supervisor, friends, followers, lovers of democracy, welcome to the latest episode of the Ballot Brief with Alina Garcia, our podcast here at the Miami-Dade County Supervisor of Elections. And today we have a lot of business to cover. We are now in the meat of the matter of the election season with so many elections happening and coming up. Of course, we had recent elections at Surfside, West Miami, and Bay Harbor Islands. We have the Gables mail ballot election coming up on the 21st of this month.
If it's Tuesday, it's election day in Miami-Dade County.
Absolutely correct. Elections around the world are also big. We had the recent Peruvian elections that we pushed a lot on social media and with a news conference. And of course, Colombia's presidential election is coming up next month in May. We also launched the Say Yes campaign with a tax collector. We have a new cancer initiative in the office that's aimed at recycling and raising money for cancer. And of course, we're also encouraging people to be vote ready for our primary election on August 18th. The last day to register for the August 18th primary is July 20th. And of course, on November 3rd is the general election. Mother's Day around the corner, Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. We were with some law enforcement officers this morning. So a lot to unpack, Madam Supervisor. It's great to be with you.
A lot of things happening here at the Office of the Supervisor of Elections. And I want to encourage everyone to please, if you have not registered to vote and you are a U.S. citizen, register to vote. It's very simple. You can go on our website at www.VoteMiamiDade.gov. And register, or you can call us at 305-499-8683, and we can help you with registering to vote. And I also want to remind everyone that the vote by mail ballots, if you received it during the presidential election, doesn't mean that you will be receiving one for these upcoming midterm elections. You need to re-register for the vote by mail if that's the way that you like to vote. So our telephone number again is 305-499-8683, or you can go on our website, www.VoteMiamiDade.gov.
So that's wonderful information. And again, registering to vote and participating in elections is really the best thing you can do for healthy democracies.
That is correct. Your voice is your vote. And if you don't vote, then you have no voice. And then you can't complain if you don't go out and vote. I always tell people that if you must go out and vote so that you have a say in what's happening. And, today, we recently had tax day, right? And you came up with a great slogan,
Absolutely. If you, first of all, we vote on Tuesdays, but tax day was on Wednesday, April 15th.
Correct.
And if you vote, it could have an impact on your taxes.
Exactly. So if you want to have a voice and say on how many taxes you're going to be charged and all of that has a lot to do with whoever you are electing. So make sure that you know who your candidates are and do your homework and be involved. It's so important to be involved in the community.
So let's talk about some of the recent elections. They went off flawlessly. The elections for West Miami and Bay Harbor were reported, I think, like 10 minutes past 7 o'clock. But tell us about Surfside, West Miami, and Bay Harbor.
Well, with Surfside, we had a court order that extended the election because election day was during a Jewish holiday. So it was disenfranchising some voters, and the judge decided to extend it. And even though you can't go vote in person, you can request a vote by mail ballot up to the 16th. Or if not, you can come to our elections office and ask for a vote by mail, an absentee ballot, and you will receive one. So, if you always have a recourse coming to our office at 2700 Northwest 87th Avenue. If you didn't request your vote by mail ballot on time, you can always come here and we can provide you with one.
And similarly, let's talk about the Coral Gables mail ballot only election.
Coral Gables, and a lot of people have already mailed them in. And I encourage, if you have a vote by mail ballot and you're in Coral Gables, please make sure that you fill it out and send it back so that we can hear your voice. And this election for Coral Gables, it's about Coral Gables government and how you want it to move forward. So it's a very important election. You have no elected officials on it, but it's still a very important election. So make sure that you do return your ballots, and don't be confused. Just because you received a vote by mail ballot for this election, which was completely done by mail, that doesn't mean that you will be receiving a vote by mail ballot for the midterm elections. You need to request it again if you haven't done so, because after each general election, federal general election, you have to request, according to state law, you have to re-request your vote by mail ballot. And it's really easy. You can go online at www.VoteMiamiDade.gov, or you can call us at 305-499-8683.
And going back a second to the Surfside election, we actually had a historic turnout for that election, almost 52% turnout in that election. So you are making a difference. You're the champion of democracy and getting out there and encouraging the
Yes,
vote.
and the West Miami election also had a great turnout. It was a really big turnout. So I want to congratulate all of those people that participated, and because it's so important to be involved in our community.
And shifting gears, we said often that healthy democracies across the world mean more stability and better democracies closer to home. You were recently very involved in the Peruvian elections. We had a news conference here at Elections headquarters, and you went to the voting site at the Airport Convention Center Hotel on the Sunday of Election Day for Peru. Tell us about that.
A lot of people went out to vote for the Peruvian election, and it was the tables were very well run. There was a little bit of a traffic situation getting into the polling sites, but they did a great job, and now they have a second round, just like Colombia will be having a second round of elections. They voted for the senators and the representatives, and then the presidential election will have the runoff for Colombia and for Peru. So that's very important. I think Bahamians are having an election also now coming up.
Yeah, the Bahamas are having an election. We recently supported them in a student registration drive, but the Bahamas are one of our neighbors. And again, you've prioritized. And all this information is on our website, on our Elections Around the World landing page, which is something that you brought to the table the minute you were installed last year. You prioritized
democracy is
it.
important. It's not only important in the United States, it's important all over the world. We need to have democracy so that the people can prosper and have good lives. If you work hard and you persevere and you follow the rules, you should be able to make a good and honest living, and you should be able to live with dignity.
And participating in democracy is easier than ever. We are taking government closer to the people. We recently had an event with the able tax collector, Daryl Fernandez, a Say Yes campaign, so that when you go renew or obtain a driver's license or Florida ID card, and you are asked if you want to register to vote, that you say yes.
Yes,
How come?
Please always say yes, because when you go to the office of the tax collector and you renew your driver's license or you renew your ID, and they ask you about registering to vote or renewing your information, it's very important, because we get your new signature. As you know, as you age and as time passes, your signature changes. So that's a very good way for us to upkeep all your information. And in some cases, driver's license numbers have changed. So please say yes when you go renew your ID, or when you go get a new driver's license or renew your driver's license. Make sure you say yes and you update your information for the voter registration.
So we're in the month of April, but lots of things coming up in May. One of our partners is the sheriff, Rosie, and the Sheriff's Office of Miami-Dade County. And Law Enforcement Appreciation Day is coming up on May 8th. We see these fine men and women at all our events and around the community. We saw some at the airport earlier. What is your message to our law enforcement community?
Well, first of all and foremost, thank you very much. I pray that God continues to bless you all and keep you safe. And thank you for keeping our Miami-Dade County safe. We're very blessed to have a great law enforcement team, headed by our sheriff, Rosie Cordero-Stud, who's doing an amazing job as sheriff. Oh my gosh,
we have a little interruption, cafecito and pastelitos. Oh my goodness.
Oh, we can't have the pastelitos.
We had missed that on the last couple of episodes. I don't know what happened,
thank you.
But we always need either a cafecito break, a pastelito break, croqueta break.
Salud.
Cheers. So that we can enjoy a little sustenance to get us through this podcast. We need energy in these podcasts.
Yes. And more importantly, the cafecito tastes really good.
So also in May, I think is aside from Easter and Christmas for me personally, but there's a holiday that is at the top of the list, and that's Mother's Day. Women create life, mothers nurture, they love. And Mother's Day is special for you because you had an amazing mom that taught you a work ethic very early on. Tell us about the significance of Mother's Day for you.
Well, Mother's Day, it's a wonderful holiday. We all came from a woman, right? So I had a great mom. Not everybody gets to have a great mom. We take a lot of things for granted. But I had a great mom. She was a hairdresser and she was a patriot. She loved the United States of America. She was very grateful. She was anti-communist, and she taught me great work ethic. She was a go-getter, and I miss her terribly, but I was very blessed to have her. So, yeah, very blessed to have a wonderful mom. I hear your mom is a great mom.
My
too.
mom is amazing. I wouldn't be where I am
pistol.
today. Yes, she is. Hopefully, maybe we'll have her on the podcast
That
one day.
would be great.
But speaking of nurturing and love, one of the things you've also done for this office is to go beyond elections and provide services and support to this community. We've done 2 farm share events. We have another farm share event coming up this summer. But we also recently launched a cancer initiative through recycling, so that here in the office at our various locations, when you have that diet soda, I love Coke Zero, but when you have that soda, you put the can in these special receptacles to raise money for cancer. Tell us about that initiative.
Well, anything that helps the community and that we can do, that's such an easy lift, It's just putting your cans aside. So if there's a way to help and we can, I think we should do it. So that's a great initiative that we're doing to recycle the cans and get something for cancer.
And similarly, we also have the receptacles in our lobbies for Sneaker Impact. We're now about 8 months into that
I have a pair of
campaign.
sneakers in the car that I have to bring down. I've forgotten about that.
And Sneaker Impact is important because it does 2 things. It keeps sneakers that have so much glue materials out of landfills, but it also takes the sneakers that are in better condition and takes them to third world countries and emerging economies and helps small businesses thrive by reselling and upcycling those shoes.
That's also a great initiative, the sneaker initiative. So if you have any sneakers or any, just bring them to our office at 2700 Northwest 87th Avenue.
And also our branch office downtown at the Stephen Clark Center.
Yes.
So with that, Madam Supervisor, we've covered a lot of ground. We have so many exciting things coming up. Democracy in action every single day in this office. Why don't you close this podcast with your usual message?
Well, I'm very grateful to live in the greatest country in the world, and I'm very grateful for a wonderful team and people that are willing to always come to work and put out a smile and put out their best efforts. So I'm very grateful to God for all the blessings for my family. I have 3 wonderful children and 11 grandchildren. And, I'm a very blessed woman, so I'm very happy that we'll be celebrating Mother's Day very soon. And I pray that each and every one of you can find love and gratefulness in your hearts. So God bless you, and we'll see you soon.